Fantastical feels a bit expensive, especially for a calendar app that's only available on Apple devices. Hey guys, it's Robsy back with Paperless X, a channel dedicated to easing your digital transformation. In today's video, we'll be going through everything you need to know about Fantastical on the Mac. If you're new to our channel, hello. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know each time we release a new video. And if you're already subscribed, fantastic human, welcome back. Fantastical is a calendar app that is available on Mac OS, iOS, and iPadOS. It doesn't have a web app, so if you choose to use it, you'll be stuck in the Apple ecosystem. A web app would give us access to our calendars on Windows, so calendar apps should be available on all operating systems. So we hope to see at least a web app for the app in the future. Fantastical costs $6.99 a month for single users, $10.49 a month for a family of 5, and $6.99 a month per user for teams. It's cheaper when you pay the annual subscription, but however you look at it, Fantastical is the most expensive calendar app we have tried so far, even with their reasonable family package. In itself, Fantastical is not a standalone app. You can't use it unless you add calendar accounts to it, which is very strange, especially for its price. It makes us feel like Fantastical is actually just a platform that extends the functionality of calendar apps you're already using. It raises too many questions for us. With all the calendar apps we have covered so far, adding other calendars is usually an optional setup that you can ignore, but that is not the case with Fantastical. You have to either add an account with iCloud to manage your Apple Calendar, which is what we'll be focusing on this review, or you have to add Google Calendar or any calendar. Fantastical lets you add a lot of accounts, Google, Todoist, a lot of them. We're not fans of apps that need to access so much information to work. So for us, that was immediately a red flag. Creating events in Fantastical is very simple. You can name the event and add a location for it. The app supports start and end dates for your events. It has all-day events and time-specific ones. We love that you can easily adjust the date and time on the actual calendar by simply dragging the event you're creating. It's a visual way to schedule your events to make sure you're not overlapping anything. But most calendar apps do that already. As is to be expected, you can add a time zone for your events as well as pick the calendar to save them to when you're using multiple calendars. Typically, every calendar account in a calendar app has a unique color. In Fantastical, it's not any different. But the app can override calendar colors. We love this because it can help you highlight important events to make them stand out. If you don't like the preset colors available, you can customize your colors for your events, which is awesome. You can add alerts to get notified before the event. Fantastical has some preset times that you can use, and you can customize them if you need to. Your alerts can be before or after the event. 5 alerts for a single event is more than enough. Have you ever needed more than that? Do tell. We've grown to appreciate the sound Fantastical makes when adding events. At first, it was scary though, but when we got used to it, we loved it. For repeating events, the app has some basic presets for a quick setup. You also get enough custom options for more control over your repeats. Your repeats can end after a certain number of times or on a specific date. Who else loves the automation that comes with Get Things Done apps? Are we the only ones? You can set travel time for events. The app has presets to choose from, as well as custom options to specify minutes or hours you will need to travel. Your alerts respond to the travel time for your events. So the options you get for your alerts are different if you've added traveling time for your events. It's well thought out because if you have to travel somewhere, you probably want to set an alert for before you travel. It makes sense, doesn't it? Fantastical does not limit the number of attachments you add to your events. We have successfully added more than 10 attachments of different formats. However, when you attach big files, the app displays an error message. We couldn't add a 45 megabyte PDF. The app failed to save it, and the annoying part is that it doesn't even warn you about the biggest files you can attach. At least if the message mentioned that we can't add attachments bigger than 5 megabytes, for example, we would know not to bother with certain files. The URL can only accommodate one web link. But the notes section for your events can have multiple. Notes you add to your events can only be plain text though. So we get no formatting options for notes. They will be nice to have, but for a calendar app, you probably won't need any formatting at all. Natural language support in Fantastical is impressively accurate. The app can pick up complex phrases that include date, time, time zones, repeating options, and locations for your events. This is an extension of the basic language support you get in Apple Calendar. Honestly, though, what are the chances you will get into a calendar app to type a massive paragraph about what you need to do for the app to create an event for you instead of just setting it up right away? I don't know how useful this will be. Typically, planning an event in a calendar app means you create an event and invite people to it. It's usually a simple way to reach a lot of people using a single invitation or link. In Fantastical, it's slightly cooler. You can invite others to your event via email. Instead of telling them when the event will be, you can propose several dates and or time slots. We love that the app doesn't limit the number of suggestions you can make. However, practically, that's already overkill. Event proposals are a smart way to plan an event for a time when everyone involved is free. They let your invitees choose when they're free before you can finalize on a date and time for your event. The notes section becomes quite useful when proposing events. You can easily explain to everyone what they need to do or share any information that can help your invitees pick the best date and time. You can choose to let your invitees see each other or not. Both options have their place. Your proposed times are added to your calendar, where you can see all the details about the event, its invitees, and comments that they make. When you finally pick a time slot for the responses you receive, Fantastical removes all the other proposed times from your calendar. Your invitees then get notified on the approved time. Fantastical notifies you about your invitees' responses. You can choose to have them at once when all your invitees have responded, or with each response. Which one works for you really comes down to your preferences. You can automate the process for Fantastical to create an event if everyone chooses the same time slot. It's not very practical, but maybe it happens once in a while. If your invitees pick different times, which is likely going to be the case, you have to set the meeting manually. We love that you can still propose an event even when you don't have your invitees' emails. Links are easier to work with, especially when you want to invite a lot of people. Anyone with a link can view and respond to your proposal. Essentially, links are public, so you don't have any control over them. We hope to have some permissions in the future, though. Perhaps a setting to at least limit the number of people who can respond, or an expiry date of sorts for these links. Fantastical also integrates with Apple Reminders, so you can manage your to-dos and events in a single app. We love integrations, especially when they're easy to work with. Creating tasks is simple. After naming and picking a date and time for it, you can choose the list for your to-do. Without going to Apple Calendar, you can set a repeat if your to-do is recurring, set a priority level, and add simple plain text notes. You can also create location-based reminders in Fantastical. For when you're arriving or leaving a certain location. Natural language support also works for tasks, which we love. Both events and tasks show your calendar, but they're difficult to differentiate. Tasks have a small checkbox, but something more prominent to set them apart from our events would be appreciated. The checkboxes are not that helpful because Fantastical does not even strike out your completed tasks. At the moment, a color code helps to differentiate your to-dos from events. However, workarounds aren't always ideal. Editing your events or tasks in Fantastical is fairly simple. You can also duplicate your events if your new event has similar details to one already in the app. Templates are better though, especially when you create the same event often. Saving a template for it makes more sense. And these are very easily accessible in Fantastical, which is convenient. They're also easy to edit if you want to change something quickly. So we love templates in Fantastical. When you add a new calendar, it goes to the calendar account you already signed into. In this case, it's an iCloud account. You can choose a color for the new calendar from a few presets or use a custom one. You can also subscribe to other calendars, name them, and choose where you want the calendar, whether you want it locally on your device or you want it online, syncing across your devices. You can also choose the refresh rate for the calendar that you subscribe to. And that's quite cool. Fantastical lets you add interesting calendars for holidays, sports, and finance. That way, you can follow your favorite events in your calendar app. The app has a dedicated space for interesting calendars, so they're easy to find. Fantastical can really become the only calendar you need if you like having everything in a single app and you don't mind having your information on their servers. The app can group your calendars and lists into sets. If you have seasonal calendars, calendar sets can help you display certain calendars you need for that time while clearing all the other calendars. It can help you to focus on what matters when it matters. You can activate calendar sets at a specific time and that automation can repeat. You can't turn it off though. So, looking forward to having that option. Like your events, calendar sets can be activated when leaving or arriving at a certain location. If you don't prefer this automation, you can manually switch calendar sets in the app very easily. So you could have calendar sets for the festive season, for winter or holidays, for example. If you're using Fantastical, let us know if you found them useful. So, Fantastical is a typical calendar app. The app's homepage is also its workspace, so everything is easily accessible. You can resize the sidebar or toggle it to hide it when you don't need it. But it's a bit difficult to toggle though. On your sidebar, from the top down, you have a calendar to quickly navigate through the different months of the year. Hovering your mouse over dates shows your schedule for that date, which helps to give you an overview of your day. Tiny dots below each date indicate that there are events and tasks for that date, and we love that. It sort of gives you an idea of how much is packed for each day. Below the month calendar, you're not sure which ones are events and which ones are tasks. You get an option to toggle just your tasks only. We love that we get a 10-day weather forecast with our events. It's useful information to consider when planning outdoor events. That was very thoughtful of the developers. Next to the sidebar, you get a bigger column of the app with 5 different calendar views. The weather forecast is available on most of the views in the different calendar views. The day view displays all day events at the top and breaks down the day into hourly chunks. In this view, you can see all the details of any event you select. The week view is slightly similar to the day view, with all day events at the top and hourly breakdown for your days. The only difference is that your event and task details appear from a pop-up, so they're not readily available on your calendar. The month lists your events and tasks for the month to give you an overview of how much is scheduled for each day. You don't get much detail from it, and the information you see from your calendar becomes even less as you move to the quarter and year views. The quarter views shows 3 months at a time. We appreciate bars that indicate all-day events spanning over several days in this view, and that's probably the main reason you'd want to use it. On the year view, hovering on a date shows everything scheduled for it. Fantastical uses color intensity to show how busy your days are. The lighter the highlight, the more relaxed your day. Openings in Fantastical are well thought out. Once enabled, you can choose a calendar set. You can then create a meeting template that you can name, describe, you can also opt to request a phone number in case you want to contact the person before the meeting. That can be quite handy. You can pick the dates and time when you're free and set the app to approve a meeting automatically when someone has booked a meeting. Your meeting template can remain available for a number of days into the future, or only for the date range that you set. Openings in Fantastical are well thought out, with lead time and break times between your meetings. We absolutely love them. The only feature missing to complete openings is a way to accept payments for businesses and professionals. We hope that is something the developers have thought of. Fantastical can search through the events and tasks in your calendar. The app can search titles, location, and invitees. You can filter what to search, which makes it easier to find what you're looking for. We love that you can edit your events without leaving the search results. We don't really like the idea that Fantastical is just a platform that collects so much information from too many of our calendars and to-do apps. It just feels like we're giving them too much of our information. Event proposals and openings are overkill for personal use. We've never felt their need before. While they're a fantastic feature to have, they're not really necessary. On the other hand, they're not enough for businesses or professionals since the app doesn't integrate with a payment gateway. That said, Fantastical feels a bit expensive, especially for an app that's only available on Apple devices. We are hesitant to recommend it. Let us know if you have used Fantastical and what was your experience. We hope you guys found this video useful. Give it a thumbs up. If you did, thank you, Fantastic Human, for watching. See you in the next video.